Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 17 male, have a strained relationship with my mom, 35 female, after an incident that happened about 6 years ago. My mom was super strict and a helicopter parent, so we fought a lot over my grades and the trouble I got into at school. She had essentially abandoned me, signing over custody to my dad after I told her something along the lines of, "I hate you, and I wish I lived with Dad." Typical things an angsty preteen says to their parent. But that fight seemed to have broken her, and she cried before dropping me off at my dad's apartment. I thought it wouldn't be a big deal, and I would just see her the next day after she proved her point. But she left me there. After that, things got essentially worse for me. My grades dropped, and I kept getting into trouble at school, almost to the point where I was kicked out. My dad never had job security, so money was tight. His girlfriend also wasn't fond of me, saying I was dumped on them. I wanted to go back to live with my mom. I thought to apologize, but my mom had essentially moved on with her life. She went back to college to get her degree and was always studying, and later on was focused on her new work. On the weekends I would get to see her. Things were tense between us. She tried so hard to be the fun parent, eating takeout and leaving me to do what I wanted. But it was so unlike her, and we became more estranged. 3 years ago, she started dating Paul, 39 male, a widower with 2 daughters, 9 female and 13 female. She started treating his daughters like they were her own, and they started calling her Mummy, which irritated me. Eventually, they moved into my mom's house and changed my childhood bedroom into one of the daughters' rooms. I was livid when I found out, saying some mean things about the girls, and refused to go back there for my mom's weekends. But she was confused on why I was acting this way. Because of this fight, she thought I wouldn't be attending the engagement party when she announced her and Paul would be getting married. Besides, she didn't want me there to ruin the perfect picture of her new family. So I made it a point to go for the party and called her out on her behavior. I wanted to confront her and tell her she wouldn't have to bother with me after I go off to college, but I may have taken it a tad too far. Everyone kept talking about how Paul's daughters were like her children and how it would be when she had more kids, and it snapped something in me. I called her a horrible parent and told her she was trying to replace me with the little brats after she had abandoned me, along with some other insults I don't really remember. Paul kicked me and my dad out, saying I was an a-hole for making his fiancée and girls cry and ruining the engagement party. He said I won't be allowed to the wedding unless I called and apologized. I may have taken it a bit too far, but my dad agrees she had it coming after abandoning a young child at an age when I needed my mother. So am I the a-hole, and should I apologize? Well, OP says that she was a helicopter parent. OP's definition for this is that she would check OP's homework, make sure OP does well at school, that OP went to bed on time and ate healthy food, and limited OP's internet access. For me, that's good parenting, and not helicopter parenting, honestly. I understand OP was a kid, but he still really hurt his mother by saying he hates her, but I also know that mothers' hearts are very big and forgiving. But in this case, she gave OP what he wanted. If OP wanted to go back, he should have apologized to her and told her so. She's not a mind reader at the end of the day. Honestly, I think OP should have more issue with his dad than his mom. And now let's see if the community agrees with me. Neodshell says, "You are a child and she is an adult and your mother. She needs to do the emotional work of creating the conditions for your reconciliation. If she can't, you need to focus on your own growth and figure out how to establish yourself in life. It doesn't sound like she's going to be coming through on that, so you are on your own. That is of far bigger significance than whether you are the a-hole or not. Take care of yourself, not the a-hole." Silver Shadow 545 says, "Hi, child of divorced parents here. From the bottom of my heart, you're the a-hole. Trying to help your child and being strict with them after they got bad grades and get into trouble at school is normal. You didn't like the consequences of your actions, so you lashed out, and you got exactly what you wanted. She was too strict and helicoptering? You hated it. She was the chill weekend parent. You hated it. Didn't want to live with her. Got what you wanted. Deal with your actions and stop blaming her for them. And please, please, either apologize and change your tune, or leave that woman and her family alone." Saldian says, "This isn't going to fix itself. Y'all need to sit down and properly have a serious conversation about how you two want to move forward. Showing up uninvited just to ruin the engagement party was especially cruel of you, however. That's not the time and place to confront her or make amends. You only did that to be mean and petty. It sounds like you want to apologize and make amends, but nowhere in this post have you mentioned making any efforts. Based on your version of the story, I would be inclined to believe that Mom did make some mistakes, but in terms of repairing the relationship, it seems like you are mostly to blame for the continuing strife. Everyone sucks here. My ex-wife, female 26, and I, male 26, were high school sweethearts and got married when we were 19. She was best friends with my sister and lived in the same neighborhood. Then we got a divorce, a year later, after she informed me she was pregnant, but wasn't sure if the baby was mine or her best friend's. No paternity test ever happened as the dude didn't care and just wanted to be with her that badly. Don't ask me why. She broke my heart and left me all alone. He legally became the father and I was left with nothing. After we got divorced, I went on with my life. I transferred colleges to the West Coast, focused on my education, got a great job in tech, and eventually got engaged. Then one day, I get a call from my sister informing me that my ex has died. Apparently her husband, the former best friend, had gotten her into D or something. As a result, she died, and he was being sent to prison. With both of them gone, however, no one wanted to take in their daughter. Her extended family had refused to take her in, and she headed for the foster system. Nevertheless, my sister called me to convince me to adopt her. I said absolutely not. But my sister kept on insisting. She said I didn't even know if I was her biological father and to take a paternity test. She said if it was negative, then I would have nothing to do with her. But if it was positive, then I should take her in. I said I wouldn't be doing that, and regardless of genetics, I'm not her father. We argued back and forth, and she called me a heartless a-hole and a rich D-bag. My family is on her side and are stressing the paternity test. My fiancé is on my side, but sympathizes with them. With all this, am I the a-hole? Edit. Blood doesn't determine parenthood. He willingly became her father. They wanted nothing to do with me. He signed his name on the paper and told me to duck off. Why after 6 years am I being dragged into this mess again? I wasn't her father then. Why am I forced into that now? Edit clarification. From a comment and for clarification. Why didn't I get a paternity test? I wanted one desperately, but she refused while she was pregnant and didn't tell me when her water broke. He signed her papers, and I found out a week after. The court said I have no recourse. I was told even a paternity test would do nothing, as he had signed the papers. Then, when I finally move on with my life, and after years of changing, now I have to be back in my hometown to go back to that miserable existence. For 6 years I had to convince myself that I wasn't the father, and now I just have to be fine with this. No, absolutely not. I'm not her father. She is his baby. I want nothing to do with this. Update clarification. I'm flying to Bethesda this weekend to both get the paternity test, but also to meet her. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. Sorry guys, there's no more updates. OP deleted his account and left us all hanging. Well, it's OP's choice, but if he was the bio dad, I couldn't sentence my daughter to the foster system, no matter how much I hated my ex and her husband. Also, I don't believe for 1 minute that the courts would just ignore a paternity petition from the man who was her legal husband at the time she conceived. This could have been addressed years ago, and I honestly highly doubt that OP went all in. Weska Jack says, why doesn't your sister take a DNA test and adopt her if it's positive? When I Sleep says, not the a-hole, and I'm aware that I'm going against the votes right now. I feel bad for the girl, and foster care is terrible. But even if you were the biological father, he's the legal father as in the adoptive father. He's the dad either way. Even if you wanted to, I'm not sure you can just steal someone else's kid. You are literally a stranger to the girl. If your sister wants a DNA test, she doesn't need your permission. Someone else in your family can do it to find out the genetic truth. Fallen Angel says, you're the a-hole. The people who decided they wanted nothing to do with you are either dead or in prison. The only person you're punishing is your paternal daughter. She didn't choose to not have you as her father, and even if she did so after being raised by another man for all of her life. It was not an informed choice. Congratulations for taking out your bitterness over your heartbreak from the actions of your ex of many years out on a defenseless child that may be your own daughter. My 33 female, husband, 36 male, have been married for 12 years. He was in the Navy for 10 of those years, but separated and got a job in our home state to be closer to family. Now that he is home, he is doing more around the house, which I absolutely appreciate. But there is one thing that he is doing that drives me insane. Anytime I'm in the shower, he's either running the dishwasher or the washing machine. So almost every day I end up taking a freezing cold shower. With the way our schedules work, he wakes up earlier than I do, as he has to be to work by 6 a.m., while I do not have to be to work until 8 a.m. So I'm just waking up when he is walking out the door to go to work. I have spoken to him about this at least 15 times in the past 2 years. I have been calm, I've begged, I've pleaded, and I've screamed at him to please wait until I'm out of the shower before he turns on the dishwasher or washing machine, because it makes the water in the shower cold. Once I point it out to him, he stops for a few days, maybe a week, but then goes right back to doing it again. His reasoning is that it's part of his morning routine and he forgets. I told him that I'm more than happy to run the dishwasher when I go down to get my coffee. He will agree, but then he will do it again. My breaking point was last week when we had a major snowstorm and below freezing temperatures. After 2 cold showers, I had had enough and decided that talking to him was no longer working. So for the last couple of days, I've been waking up early and doing exactly what he has been doing to me when I'm in the shower, running the dishwasher or washing laundry. This morning he came down yelling that the water was cold and asked me why I couldn't wait to do the laundry. I told him that he now knew how I felt when he would do the same thing and left me taking freezing cold showers. Now he is mad at me and refusing to speak to me until I apologize to him. I refuse to apologize, considering this issue has been brought up to him repeatedly, and he has done nothing to work with me to find a solution that works for both of us, other than stopping for a few days and doing it again. Well, usually appliances have a delayed start button, so in this case, I think it should be used. He can start it with a 2-hour delayed start. It seems like a stupid fight if you have an easy fix. What do you guys think? Was Never Here says, "Not the a-hole. You've tried so hard to get him to understand and empathize, and he hasn't listened, hasn't prioritized your needs above his convenience. So I don't blame you for getting him to experience it firsthand so he understands." My recommendation, though, since he forgets to not do those chores, come on, really, is to put duct tape over the dishwasher and laundry machine that only you are allowed to remove. If it really is forgetfulness, in the morning he'll go to do the dishes and be hindered by the tape that he has to remove. That should be enough of a reminder to go, "Oh yeah, wife is the one who will remove this. I'm not supposed to do dishes this early." You can even write, "Do not remove" on the tape. Honestly, if this doesn't work, he's deliberately doing it because it's his preference and he doesn't care about your shower. Swiggy Bloodlust says, "A few times is a mistake. Hundreds of times is not forgetfulness." His reaction to having it done to him is telling. He knows it was a jerk maneuver to do to you. It sounds like a passive-aggressive way to be cruel. Not the a-hole. NLOLson8 says, "Not the a-hole. Why not start the dishwasher at night so the dishes are clean in the morning? I would suggest washing most of your laundry with cold water instead of hot. It keeps colors brighter longer and isn't as rough on fabrics, and won't eat up hot water for the shower. Pretty much the only thing I wash in hot water are white t-shirts and socks. I don't use a special cold water detergent and don't have a problem with stains on my child's clothes." We started trying about a year into the marriage. She got pregnant multiple times, but they all resulted in losses. Eventually, the doctor said our best shot was IVF, so we went through the process and ended up with 8 frozen embryos. Unfortunately, our first cycle ended in a stillbirth with complications, and my wife had her remaining ovary and uterus removed. It broke us. We fought more and more and decided to separate. We are hammering out the divorce agreement now. She wants the remaining embryos to be used by a surrogate. I don't want to be tied to her anymore, and if I had a kid out there, I wouldn't be able to walk away from the kid. Legally, I can force their destruction, but without any more eggs, she will be unable to have bio kids. If it makes a difference, she said if I let her use the embryos, she will not seek alimony or child support, but if I don't, she will seek the maximum alimony. So, am I the a-hole? Edit. I do have a lawyer and legally in the clear, so long as our agreement doesn't say something different, which I'm checking on. My question is a moral one. Edit 2. It seems like it isn't clear from my saying I couldn't walk away. If I knew I had a child out there, I would feel obligated to be involved in that child's life. Definitely emotionally and probably financially, even if I were not obligated by the law. Lame Liab says, I think you're the a-hole. You can continue to have whatever bio kids you want in the future with whomever you choose. But this is it for her only shot. The Thug Muffin says, you're the a-hole. Why didn't you suggest she freeze just her eggs on the side, just in case, before she had her lady bits removed, if you knew you wouldn't want her to have your children after a divorce? I get that separation is hard, and you two are not in a good place. I also get that the embryos belong to both of you, but you are still packing, while this is her last and only chance. I would consider you to be morally in the wrong. I also feel sorry for both you and your ex-wife. Some relationships cannot survive tremendous loss, like many miscarriages and a stillbirth. But I hope that one day you both recover, and I hope you give your ex-wife a chance to have her and your baby. Chiyuka-chan says, not the a-hole. Half of that genetic material is yours. You don't know that this kid won't walk into your life at some point down the line. If she can afford a surrogate, she can afford adoption.